Is it going to fade to grey, go into black? Yes, what a week last week. Starting off with a Sunday session last night, just a few hours sleep in the bag and out. I smell the napalm. It smells like burn like fire in Cairo, it says. Yes, there is stuff burning. Trillions of vaporware hypervaluation, all brought about by a debt proliferation system that is now in a state of failure. That's right, the debt market turned in 2020. You know that. You heard it here first before anybody else. That is the underpinnings of the debt fiat system. And as a result, America can't borrow anymore to quite the same level. Plus, Janet Lennon? Sounds like she should have been in the Beatles. Yellen. That's right, the little midget, the awful little pug-faced midget that loaded up 9 trillion as a little landmine field for good old Drumpf. Drumpf also, much like Yellen, chosen one, now has to deal with a mega rollover. What does he do? He needs lower rates, just as we warned you. We told you on crypto. We told you on the Market Sniper. We told you a long time ago. It's all about the debt. It's a debt and fiat-based system, and actually the underlying system is the debt. Money is borrowed into existence, and here's where we are. Hyper-leverage, financialization of everything, from cars to houses to everything. You're in the massive big bubble. We talk like a black pill doomer because that's the cycle and times we are in. We will pivot, we will change when everything is burned to the ground. And it's time for green shoots. You're going to love that phrase by the time this cycle is over. You're going to get so many false dawns for green shoots. I'm laughing already. I'm going to buy me some goats. They're going to get big and fat on all the green shoots that are going to be popping. I tell you what. And some chickens too. Yeah, you better have self-reliance. Anyway, it's a crypto channel. He hasn't even said Bitcoin once yet. Ding, Bitcoin. That's right. How are you guys doing? Listen, smile. You know, you were shown that and you were warned. Go defense. I was looking at the comments and I say, crypto people hate the Crypto Sniper. I have the YouTube channel, The Market Sniper, and generally I have some haters, but most people are pretty appreciative. Crypto Sniper, most of the people, 50% of the people who comment absolutely hate me. Oh, the contra indicator, it's the bottom, they say. That's one of their favorites. It's like a bad joke they want to keep repeat. How's the bottom treating you? Are you having a nice bottom? No, sir, no, sir. And everybody telling me last week, but crypto never went down. Crypto never went down when everything's going down. Relative strength. Okay, your liquidity high beta thing, relative strength. We warn people to help you save yourselves. Help you save yourselves from belief systems, looking for anything to hang your coat on. Let me tell you, deleveraging is brutal and it burns right through. It doesn't ask what grass you were, you're dry, you're brown, it burns you. That's where we are, guys. The fire, the napalm, the burning is beginning. Man, guys, we're short. And we have been short for 5 days. And we told you, be careful. Let's have a look at a few interesting charts. We'll start with one non-crypto. Let's have a look. I've got your comments, by the way. I've got your comments. Say hello, say hello. Hate me a little bit if you're a crypto long. I'm sorry, man. I don't want to see anybody lose money, by the way. I am in cheery demeanor. I'm an entertainer and I love the markets. I'm happy. I've got energy. And when things go my way, I've got extra energy. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear and hurt anybody here. I'm not behind this. I'm just the storyteller. I'm not the one making the moves here. This system is being designed to fail from day one, and you are at the arse end of that failure. And gold as the parabola was your great warning. In gold ounces, everything was going down. It's getting disorderly to the upside. Some will say, oh, but you're down over the last 2 days. Listen, we've been talking about the last year and a half, friend. This is small beer pullbacks. This is physical money. The central bankers all want it. What don't they want if they want gold? That means XAUUSD. They are selling dollars. What is the dollar associated? Every UST is a USD. That's right. The debt system fell by 45%. So what does Trump want? Well, He got the landmine field courtesy of the little goblin, the Granny Yoda Yellen, that shortened duration and left him with 9 trillion to roll. Guess what? He needs lower interest rates. We told you, watch us on the Market Sniper. You need to understand the going of the system. It's not all about crypto. It's the system you're playing in. Crypto is way up top here on the leverage, on the pyramid. The underlying, the foundation is debt and fiat, and it's crumbling. And it has never faced the crumbling environment that it is going to face now, crypto. So let's have a look at the USD government bond 10-year yield. We gave this, and this warns, this is a fear indicator, friends. We told people here, this is fear. This is real fear. We started mentioning it up here. In fact, we had this falling wedge draw that we looked at and said, it's not going to plan. This was the falling wedge for rates to go up. There it was, and we broke a little early after just a small bop. And then we came nothing but down, down, return move. Then we broke back into the wedge and set up a flag. What does that tell us? Head and shoulders. You see the neckline in the light blue. Big head and shoulders, that tells you rates down. Why all of a sudden did the falling wedge pivot into something new? Because, my friends, they'll tell you tariffs. They'll tell you Trump. Trump's breaking it. Trump's doing this. Trump's doing that. The guy had no wiggle room. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not any politician's fan. You have 9 trillion. That's 9, 3 zeros, another 3 zeros, another 3 zeros, and another 3 zeros. 9 and 12 zeros to sell to someone as an asset after it's lost 45 to 50% over the last 4.5 years. Good luck. You've got to create so much fear that all the liquidity runs out of everywhere else into your crappy end of cycle asset that's already turned the 40-year bull market and turned into a capitulate bear. It's virtually an impossible task. And that means interest rate payments will still go up for Americans, even if he gets to refi at a lot lower rates, because they won't be as low as they were when you were down at noughts, ones, and twos. He will not get the rates that much lower. Where will the rates go? We think 3.5 will be a slowing point to the downside. This is a fear indicator, guys. So in terms of your crypto, where are we on the fear indicator, you might ask? Because that tells you if it's over, you're going to see a lot on crypto. Raoul Pal, buy and hold. Lots of others going to be telling you, this is your great opportunity you were waiting for. You never bought at 109. You wanted to buy at 109. Now you have a chance to buy at 72. This tells you we are not yet done. Targets should be assumed to be made. You may indeed get a rally. In fact, I think today, when the American session truly gets going, there'll be a somewhat of a rally. And everyone will go, those doomers, those black-pilled monsters that just want the world to burn. That's what they're going to say. But in actual fact, I think you could get a rally. But at some point, it is our expectation you run the 3.5% to the downside. What does that mean? More fear, more money going into bonds. Where's it all coming from? There's no printing machine. There's no printing machines. They've overdid that. Remember that. There's no inflation. Oh, there's a little bit of inflation, but it's entirely transitory. Still transitory a year later. Doubly transitory and going up, and then, okay, we lied about the transitory, or we had no clue. You remember all that? That's still fresh in the minds. Powell doesn't want to cut. But if things get much worse, he'll be forced to do something in between meetings, but he's not going to want to do a lot. This is real pain, because the lesson of the debt collapse that occurred when we called August 2020, the turn in the debt markets, the first time we ever called it for 40 years, that's when everything broke. The system broke. Debt cannot be added in the same scale. The interest rates are going to be higher. They can't afford it. America can't afford it. You hear Donald Trump talking tough. We don't care about Europe. We're not renegotiating tariffs. Not unless they pay us money and they pay us back pay for all the defense we've been doing. Hey, he's entitled to say that. Europe's been freeloading. It has. It absolutely has. Their rates are lower than America. They can go get debt bust like America too. We're all going debt bust. It's the leper colony. You had to kiss the chief leper to join. That's how it works. So in terms of this, my good friends, where are we? Well, you're sitting here and you're sitting at 4.09. You've rallied back to 4.09, but let me tell you, I don't assess that you will go very far on the rally. The neckline was 4.13. You may get up to here, but in due course, you will go lower. They will create mood music. We've saved the day. Liquidity is coming. J Powell is cut by a quarter or a half or maybe even a full percent. Who knows? Who knows? They all control puppets. It's a controlled demolition. I am seeing so many people using the phrase, Simon Dixon, controlled demolition. Jeff Berwick and all the guys, controlled demolition. I love it. I took it from 9/11, the better part of 7 years ago. It's intent. It's a controlled demolition. Anyway, so what's that mean for crypto? Time to open a Bitcoin chart. Now, to be fair to Bitcoin versus the S&P 500, this is not as brutal a sell-off as the S&P 500 has had. If you do that, and there was, it went sideways for a while. There was a head and shoulder. We spoke about that. We said kind of left shoulder, bigger head, and then a flat right shoulder. And then you spilt and you made the target. Good, job done. But what's happened since? This is where you are. Bitcoin needed to hold 78. It's already having a little bit of a rally. Do not a buyer be generally, friends. Unless you're very short term and you're trading on a small time frame. Listen, okay, if you're a screen jockey, go ahead, knock yourself out, try get a bid. I don't trade, counter trend, and this whole story is not over. If rates go to 3.5, I'd imagine liquidity is flowing out of most other markets into bonds in the traditional realm. Now, some will say, but maybe crypto, that's not really TradFi, can go up of its own. Well, it's been put as a proxy of the tech stocks. That's not working so well right now. It's actually done a little bit better than the tech stocks. But this is how the S&P looks. And that's how hard it's gone down. So yes, people are right to notice that Bitcoin is not throwing it down quite as fast. But Bitcoin turns sooner. It's a more sensitive to liquidity. It turns sooner and it already started to go down. It had already started to go down some time, whilst the equities continued to plow to the upside. Now down 17.5 and playing a bit of catch up. Does that mean Bitcoin is stronger and will go up when equities continue to go further down? We don't think so. We don't think so because it has gone still more to the downside than the equity markets. You see that 17.5 on the S&P? Where was Bitcoin's high? 108, 109, you'll recall, up top here. Let me move my line. You will see Bitcoin is still further down. It topped earlier and went down a little slower. There it is, 29.5. That's basically 30%. 30% down. Bitcoin is 30% down. Not as fast now because it's already had some of the fluff taken out of it. Plus, there's a little bit of that reserve asset thing. The government might do dumb stuff. So there's some bid under it, but it can become overwhelmed. It can become overwhelmed. We incidentally had a small time frame inverted HVF on Bitcoin. This is 30 minutes. We warned people, yep, there's going to be a downside. We discussed this in the community. This has got a downside. This will be a localized low target. You will rally after running the 75, 78. And so you have. You went as low as around low 74s, and now you are bouncing up. So it's not a time to put a short on right now. You should have been shorting over here last night, and that would have been at 82 on Bitcoin. And in fact, for 5 days, we've been short XRP. XRP, and this is where it gets really ugly. But you said, you can hear the spittle coming out the sides of their corners of their mouth. You said $19.35. You did it. You said it. You're flipping. You're flopping. You've gone to the short. How dare you? How could you? They will cry. Multiple time frames of analysis. We have regularly stated there is a demand-destroying event and it's likely to intervene potentially before the blow-off bull market that you might get on crypto, and that the 19.35 may not even be the cycle. It could extend. It could be part the way through the next cycle. It could be all the way in the next 4-year cycle. It is a macro target, and this is a demand-destroying event that we've been expecting. And yes, it does intervene. And you can be 19.35 on the monthly chart, and you can be down to sub $1 on the 4-hour and the daily chart. That is how you sustain multiple views across different time frames. It's about the liquidity now. What will it do? There's a lot of fluff. There's a lot of expectation in XRP. And now we have a major liquidity. All the news came out. It was a damn squid. They finished their lawsuits and it barely could hold on to a rally. Guys, the stuffing has been taken out. This demand-destroying event is the main theme. Tariffs, macroeconomics are running the day. To all of you that say, but you said, we still say, but first down. Have you ever had a journey that's a straight line? Have you ever gone to Google Maps and it just goes as the crow flies? You never once spend any time going a little too far left and a little too far right and over a hill. This is part and parcel of going from here to Morocco. You're going to take some turns. You're going to have some big turns. Unless you're a crow, you don't go the way the crow flies. Okay? Let's have a look at some of your comments. Let's read. Market changes pretty quick, so people need to be careful. Hi from the UK. Where are you guys coming in, checking in from? Time zone, which should be GMT. It's 3:36 approximately GMT time frame over here. Light and darkness. Wish you the best. Are we going to rally today? Possibly. So here's what HVF method tells you, which is what our community know and put as their primary basis of trading. A likely rally will occur after running the target. So far, so good. Is it going to be strong? No, the primary trend is actually down. It could have periods of some strength. It can get up. It's unlikely, I think, to break this. If it does, it's a bit more of a medium-term rally and will show a little bit more relative strength than, say, the S&P. What about targets for the S&P and other key benchmarks? We see further downside. So there's a special trick that says the gap in the trading is normally at the 50% mark. The gap in the trading. You see that gap over there? Let's get rid of that box for a second. Go away, box. There it is. Jump, go away. Okay, thank you so much. You see that gap over there? In the S&P, the big gap, when you're accelerating into a real binner, that's that. And you're in the process of a further bin to the downside. Well, what you do is you put that capitulation, the extreme high of that capitulation, you lock it on, and it's amazing how many times this works out. You put the magnet on, you grab the Fibbo, let's get him, come on, and you click that localized high, and you put the 50% on the middle of that gap, like that. 4997. You see the low where the 0% is? That fast period is ripping, and you should run sub 5,000 on the S&P. More downside. More people getting handed their ass. Some of them are in crypto. They're getting hurt. They're scared. They may sell some of their crypto because they don't want to take more losses. They're seeing all the fluff being taken away by the engineered financial leverage of everything. So that is Constance Brown. That is a trick. So 4.9, that doesn't mean it's over. Remember, it didn't start its selling here. It started its selling up there. You might go as low as 4.5, and it could be even more brutal. You could get a rally, a significant rally for 3-4 days, maybe a week and a half, maybe the rest of the month. And then you get slammed. There's going to be a contagion of events, guys. This is the big one. Everybody going, oh, okay, seen the movie before, kind of like subprime, kind of like dot-com boom. Wait till the printer comes out, just when they denounce printing, then just buy the lows, become a millionaire buying the equivalent of the 2009 lows on crypto, on equities. This time is different. They do not have access to the same degree of leverage. CV19 was the biggest of them all. They got ever significantly bigger. They cannot, or US particularly, and the Europeans indeed as well, the West cannot borrow what they borrowed during CV19. The scale of the crisis and the bottomless credit card allowed for trillions of money to be created during the process of 2020 and 2021. All forms of stimmy. You will not see that. Don't get excited. You're not getting a stimmy check this time. You're not getting furlough there in the UK this time. You're going to get absolutely nothing. They want you poor. They want you hollowed out. They want you flushed out. BlackRock wants to buy your house real cheap and then rent it back to you. Don't you understand? The e-digital CBDC for Europe is ready in October. They're going to launch it. Come hell or high water. Von der Leyen and Agent Orange, Lagarde, the vixens, the silver foxes of fraud are ready to skin you. They send out females to be the palatable face of crookery and stealing your privacy, all captured as you can well understand. So the S&P is going to be further down to the downside, possibly 4.5 past the 5,000 to the downside. There's guys waiting for a melt up, by the way, waiting for a melt up. Some are still waiting for a melt up. I'm saying to myself, melt up on what? For a melt up to happen, there have to be way more buyers with unbelievable amounts of money overwhelming the selling rack to the upside. David Hunter spoke of 60% more on the Russell 2000 and between 28 and 30% on the S&P and NASDAQ. Wow, 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 wow. You're going to be waiting some time, David. This is a rout and this is fear. And he says, but maybe now QE. Well, QE can't come until there's much more pain because it's too fresh in the mind, the inflations. They cannot pull the same debt trick to the same degree. The market turned in 2020. That's the key call we made. You do not have that bottomless overdraft to draw upon. The foundation has crumbled. Let's go to another crypto chart, XRP. We said the two will fall. It's likely that it will fall. There's a real risk of the two falling. We highlighted this. And unfortunately for many people, you know, we are ready to see this as the XRP, the statist, the CBDC of all, but they will flush you out. Too many retail people holding XRP must flush you out. You must be poor. They need to up your rates. They must spike the rates first. That's what will happen when they try to do any form of QE. The rates will spike much faster, much quicker, on much less money. Why? Because people don't want the debt anymore. It changed. The 40-year bull is over. Just go look at the TLT chart. I've shown it so many times. I wish people would understand and get this. Let's get it for you. TLT, have a look at this. Again, quick reminder. This is long-term debt tools that you could have invested in. This is what happened. This is called a blow-off and then a collapse, good people. This right here is your blow-off and collapse. We were short up top here. We called for a head and shoulder bounce for a neckline at 135. We got it, and then you sold all the way to targets, and you've been grinding lower lows. There will be more downside. You never took out that low. This will squeeze. Yes, it will rally, and then it will come back down. It will squeeze, and you're going to have more loss. This is an asset that is not an asset. It never was a reserve asset. It was a debt instrument. In an environment where inflation is far higher, proliferation by central bankers is inflation and taxation upon you. And this asset is not an asset. It's a shrinking violet. The tide is turned. It all happened in 2020. That is why you will get higher rates a lot quicker and you're going to have stubbornly high inflation. Why else? Because tariffs. The US is putting the walls up. You can't sell to our people. We'll make it ourselves. That's very isolationist Well, he doesn't have as much choice as you think, but it sure is a mistake by all measures. But everything was a mistake. He had nowhere to move. He was painted into a corner. There's going to be a lot of memes about how stupid Trump is for doing this and how it's going to end the US hegemony. It started long time ago. And you can certainly look at the Biden-Yellen people for painting him into that corner, and every other administration, Republican and Democrat, central banker cartel. It is a controlled demolition. They knew it ends here. This is how they take all your stuff. You hear me? Interest rates will spike. You are on borrowing. Get it out of your life if you can. Settle all borrowing. So that's the TLT. Let's talk about XRP. Let's go back to XRP, because many people will still be saying, they'll still be hurt. You said long. Yes, we said long. And right now, it's in a bit of a head and shoulder. It's in a bit of a head and shoulder. We warned about this, that this could happen, and that it's been taken out of their hands. All that positive news, and yet you could still fall. And this $2 mark we highlighted long before anyone else, this is being knocked on. They are knocking on the door or looking for the trapdoor to the downside. And it has now failed. The market has come to that point where it now fails. Sure, there's a little bit back up right now. At the moment, it's off its absolute lows. Wait for the panic to return, friends. Trends are your friends. Wait for the panic to return. Smaller time frames, it's a spiller. It's a man peas off the roof. You even have a little head and shoulder on the neckline of our stall box that we drew. Do you see it? There's fractals and there's fractals. You could have been short up top here, and you could have had a stop up there. We have a super chat. We love super chats. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Hi, Francis. When there is a demand destroying event, you are experiencing it, Moses 23. You are busy experiencing it. When do you think the new bottom will occur in the current crypto bull cycle? And when do you think the current bull cycle will end in crypto? So that's a good question, and it requires a silver ball. So you can only respect that I haven't been to the future to give you anything that can be that accurate. However, I will say this. You should look at the October release of the e-digital token. It's probably likely to be at peak problem, reaction, solution. So this contagion is going to wage on. Bear markets drag on. They have rallies and false hopes. There's going to be countless people that say, buy the damn dip, catch the falling knife. Every rally will be, that's the bottom. You never bought the low. You're a fool. This time you will go lower more times than not. Do not do it. Short is my trade for a medium time frame. Short and medium time frame. We have targets. We know where to take off. I think there's a fear that XRP could even round trip. It could even trade below $1 and do an effective round trip. That doesn't invalidate. It still doesn't invalidate the macro setup for XRP. But the people that will be participating in it will be all the billionaire and control classes. Make sure you have some powder. This is how they flush us out. This is how they flush us out. They take you down into desperation. They take your rent checks away. They take your jobs away, and you become a forced seller at the bottom. You become a forced seller at the bottom. It's better to manage your money more firmly, have it in things that will retain value. Cash, gold. What are they? Cash and gold, Moses. And if you put your stuff in cash and gold, or at least USDT for now, I would say, or C, you will at least not lose. I'm not going to make a shorter out of everybody here. We have a community, we have a program, and we are profiting from that, those that are in. But I don't push my guys to short this, because you've got to be on it. You've got to have your stop loss in. You've got to have your entry. And sometimes you can enter twice, 3 times. Bit of volatility can be flushed out. So when does it end? I would look at October. Probably the depth of the low will be before October. And then I would look at the European launch date being part of the solution to the upside. I would expect higher than normal job losses this time. I will expect pretty draconian pressure on bankruptcy and credit card collection from banks, more so than normal. Remember in CV19, they said we'll give everybody a discount window or hold out and all of this. Not this time. Debt is too big a problem now. They can't buy you and carry you. They're not going to do it. And actually part of their objective is to take and put the pressure on you so that you don't have lots of free cash flow to put in XRP and the status tokens. So that's my take and answer for Moses in terms of that. So are we still in a bull market? Actually, this is a very interrupted bull market by macro events. This is going to be a bull market that gets a degree of a pretty ugly bear partway through. However, their solution will likely take you to a new high. So it's going to be cut in half, which is quite possibly going to lengthen the entire cycle. Bitcoin's halvening is going to become less and less significant over time, especially as the supply that gets cut is less and less significant as you get ever closer to nothing, and especially as we have started eventually to see some of the alts recover, which will still be in the future. So those are my thoughts on that. I hope that helps, and thank you for your super chat, Moses. So that's XRP. So here's a trade for those that wish to take a trade, and this is not for everybody. This is not for everybody, but it's an idea for you. And we say wave 2 comes, and the token we are going to give you for free today that we've been discussing in our community is in fact Binance, a highly liquid top 10 token and a short call by us, but not here, not now at these levels. This is another reason why I think you get a rally first. This is going to make peace. Oh, that was terrible. It was like the yen carry trade. So glad it's over now, they will say. So glad it's over now, they will say. And I'm talking about this piece of price behavior right here. It is setting up for a beautiful and classic inverted HVF. It had a slap in the face of real brutality over there. And that is likely to give us exactly what we want. But first a hammer. But first a rally. But first a rally, they say. Something like this, and then some point back down over here. I will aim to get next level shorts added back on in the highs here. I'll be watching it on a small time frame. Remember we showed you that little head and shoulder fractal on XRP over here? That's right, you saw it. You want to get your looking glass out and find one of these close to the top of that Binance loop that I expect. I'm expecting it to be a rounded loop. You see the convexity that this has, kind of like a muffin. I'm expecting another muffin right there. And you want to be short. Somewhere it will be between 580 and maybe 610. Somewhere between there. Maybe it'll be 575. Who knows? 575, 610, I will be short. You can put a first stop loss up top there and you will trade to the downside. We will be providing the full target to our community members and our self-study members. And that allows, by the way, a more affordable option for you to participate in our theory and our updates. For those of you that are feeling the times, feeling the pressure. And of course, you can always come to a live trading day, which will be first Friday of the following month. There are many options to engage with us, including also our mini series, which is a small course introducing the HVF method that will give you some idea of the concepts that I'm discussing today in a small, edited, short, easy to watch daily 5-minute video. And there's some of them that are only 3 minutes. You catch them, you watch them, you click, and you'll be opted into our newsletter if you allow it. And you'll get little clues. This will be a rainmaker of a trade, by the way. The amplitude is 500 to almost 750. It's around 730. That is a $230 move on Binance to the downside. If you're asking me what we will see, we're going to see 300s. We're going to see 300s on Binance. Low 300s as part and parcel of that move. That's my guess. I'll be tightening that up a whole bunch more as it moves, if it brings to us what we expect it to bring to us. If it doesn't, does something else, starts getting very strong to the upside, we're wrong. If we trade through 640 at any point to the upside, we're wrong. We accept we're wrong. You always know where we accept we're wrong on a level. But this is looking very, very positive. And this points to a delayed another swing of the bat to the downside on crypto. That could do real damage. Imagine you're short from 590 all the way down to 290, 310, 320. Would you restore some of the damage done to you today for being long investor in crypto as this all sell off? I'm hoping so. That's what we aim to do, to help you, Thanks for hitting the like button, because I just know you did that when you heard me say I aim to help you, and I'm giving you something for free about an idea we intend to implement. I know you hit the like button when you heard that, because you're that way. You're kind. You're giving something back for being given something back. You're reciprocating. I love that about you guys. Even the ones that were real angry. Oh, you said $19. Straight line up, $19. Why is it not doing it? You're busted. You're a liar. You fooled us. Europe has a stable coin on XDC, says Light and Darkness. BTC, ETH, and Sol. Rates will go down, not higher. Rates will go down, but they will rally first, potentially. Everything's okay. The mood music will change. They created so much fear. They're going to want to see if they're still controlling it and can calm it all down. That's how they hammer you. You first slap your dog, and then you stroke and make nice, and then you hit him again when he's not expecting it. That's what psychopaths do. They do it to their wives as well. They say, I'm sorry I hit you, love. You know how much I love you and all of that. And then she goes, yeah. And then, where's my dinner? Dish. That's what they do. Psychopaths. They are evil. They are evil. They'll let it rally, and they're going to spank you again. That's how they do it. That's how they break you. It's called whiplashing. It's whiplashing you into it. It's just plain evil. This should spill and just get done. That's what it should do. It should find its point of support in one foul swoop. If you're to take a punch, take it once, not 100 times while you're sleeping or least expecting it. So Binance is the trade for you. What is happening on total market cap? Let's wipe our face a little bit with all the draws. Who likes the fact that we can draw on our screen? We do special live streams. Tell us if you enjoyed the live stream. While Rome burns. Rome is burning. We are fiddling. We are fiddling our fiddle. So this is a decent hammer from Bitcoin so far on the day. And prediction is you're actually going to get a rally back up. You made a target. We told you when you made that target on a previous double top over here. We said it's done. It's done. It's done. You made a target. That's why you churned. But we said don't buy into the rallies. What happened? Bang. Another rally happened. Nasty rejection candle, that one. Very nasty. And then a little bit of and oh dear, we spilled. But it's not the end of the world. By the way, you're back. You're back to where you broke out of the broadening structure. Do you see that? Back to where you are, where you broke out of the broadening structure. That's not good. That's the broadening structure we told you would break to the upside. We said this is your period and chance for leverage longs over here. And boy, oh boy, wasn't it just. It started to get a bit choppy there. That was your biggest pullback. That was pure Bitcoin bull markets with very little downside vol. That was your best moment. Since then, choppity chop, low vol over here on our neckline, absolute spiller to target. Do you see that? When things fall, they fall hard, they fall fast, and they can build you wealth. We're warning you. Binance token. Something might happen on the exchanges as well, by the way. Maybe it's a warning not to have too much with Binance. Hey, I'm not trying to destroy anybody's business. I just don't like that. If I was deep in the Binance, I would be a bit concerned. Retest of the breakout. In terms of, well, for this to retest its double top, it would have to go all the way there. I'm not sure you're going to get a rally that big and start making higher highs, higher lows. The minute it runs that, I might start thinking, could it be over? Could it be over for Bitcoins on its downside? But you are making lower lows and you're going to probably make lower highs. You see the highs? There you got a return move straight after target. You see that? What happened at the key 3.1 trillion? Smashed it back down again. So this is the problem that crypto faces. It's kind of everything around it has turned super bearish and it's reliant on liquidity too. You've got to move 1.6 trillion. By the way, we should have a look at what gold's done. I want to warn everybody that this is one of your best indicators. XAU. Let's get it up. There it is. XAU, XAG. So this is the gold-silver ratio. Why are we talking about gold-silver on a crypto channel? Because it's very good at highlighting for you where the big crises are. It's very good at highlighting for you where the big crises are. Here we go, here we go. When you break away from 90, there's only been one other event of meaningful in the modern history. It's not all history, but there's only been one other event, and it's CV19. And when I saw this was squeezing and starting to push up against the orange box, it's going to break to the upside. Is it over? I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure it is. This was a super spike on a singular event. You've got to remember, CV19 was unique. Hey, we're locking you all down. You've got to stay at home. All the businesses must be shut unless you're Amazon. You can order on Amazon at any time. It is safe. We have bleached all the horrible little bugs off our products. You can receive an order at all times. Very convenient that was. But so that was very unique in a spike. Just because this has come back almost to the 100. That means 100 ounces, friends. This is 1 ounce of silver for my crypto friends. Some of you may be less aware. That's 1 full ounce. You need 100 of those to get a single ounce of gold. So that's very extreme. And that's industrial bad. Very little economic activity because there's a small industrial element in silver. And reserve assets big. That's gold. Gold is very, very dominant on the reserve asset side. So what you need to see is this indicator turn around. You need rates to turn around and start going up. At the moment, this is spiking to the upside. Yes, it sold off a little bit, but we're on a 3-day chart. It's not, the day is yet to be over. And the 3-day session is yet to be over. And the same for the rates. This can pull back a little bit. There's going to be many a fake out, pullbacks on the gold-silver ratio, rallies on the rates on the US 10-year, but short the rallies if you know how, with asymmetric rewards and tight stops. We focus on that. We are building alpha and making money in times most people are losing trillions. Let's be clear. Lost off the markets trillions, and many of them went into circuit breaker mode because they'd already lost too much. In other words, they weren't allowed to lose any more. Those sellers come back tomorrow and hit the circuit breaker again. You're taking some of the panic out, but you're not letting some of the sellers get out. There will be forced liquidations on account of margin. Circuit breakers hit again. This is how they're trying to stop. They're going to even make shorting illegal. But people hold too much with leverage. They will have to close. So this is a great unwinding of the leverage that you are seeing. XRP is a military operation. Probably right too. Okay, any other questions? So be warned, this still needs to go to 3.5. This represents more fear. Can it rally? Yes, it can. It can. This one could rally to its 4.1 neckline as part and parcel of a journey down. That means more fear, more money going into bonds, flowing out of equities. Is it a good environment for crypto, an equity market crash? No. What's also happening is the dollar. We haven't spoken about the dollar. Well, gold, let's just get gold on its own without silver. Gold and the dollar are very, very interesting. Let's get gold, dollar. There's two options. You can go back into the fiat debt system by having dollars and notes at home and cash in your bank account, earning a pittance of an interest rate, or buy bonds and debt. I wouldn't recommend that, even though they'll probably go up for a while. But what you see is gold had a dip all the way down to 2.9 and back above the 3,000 mark at 3,031. Back above, and that's a hammer. So it dips the least. We've said countless times on our channel, stay in gold first for phase 1. Only after the demand-destroying event has played out, get into the higher betas like silver and crypto. Gold doesn't lose a lot. You want to see how much gold went down from its open on this one day that we're currently in? 1.97%. You want to see since its high, which, by the way, it's consistently been making new highs the whole year so far. 6% down. 6% down or 30% down on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's one of the better ones. Which one is it? We called the top on XRP, literally. 3.36, it topped out at 3.4. Did you listen? Did you listen? Probably not, because you don't trust HVF method or not. That's where we got you out. Right there, 3.4. You see it? 3.36, my apologies. 3.3 on the top wick of XRP. Let me just show you that. Let's remind everybody of that. Yes, another super chat to be checking. Keep the super chats coming. Thank you for your super chats. I think you could rally. You could even rally back to 2. It will be a shorting opportunity and a bulk up for me. I'm afraid to say that's how it is right now because of the environment. That's where we got you out. That is the top of the XRP market for the first half pre-demand destroying event that we've been warning could come at any time. So Stephen Young, how are you, Stephen? Thank you for your super chat, Stephen. A handsome man as well. Also got great spectacles. Love it. Hi, Francis. How do you see XRP going when the USA opens in 1 hour? Greetings from the Scottish borders. Thank you, Stephen, and God bless Scotland. Yes, so US market will be opening. I think we rally. I think America is going to try to show once again we stop the contagion. We're strong. We're whatever. I think there is a bit of a plunge protection mechanism that is out there. Whenever assets take a disorderly fall, I think it's got to do. You probably find the cartel of bankers have to contribute to a buying fund of some form, which is also a bit like the auto stops. So I actually think you rally, and I think you might already be seeing a little bit of that. If I were currently long XRP, thankfully we got defensive quite a long time ago in this zone over here. It wasn't brilliant exits on my investment. We closed our trades and took some investment off there, but the rest I left quite late because I didn't want to do it, just like you. I won 19. Well, the market wants a dip first. Then it might give you 19. You've got to respect that. So round about there. But if you were still in XRP and you could get a 2 in front, I would get out on the 2. You might get 2, 2.0, 2.05. You might get that, or you may not make the 2. You may make a part rally. So this is where dropping into lower time frames, Stephen, might help. And remember, it's too soon for me to actually, there's not much TA to hang my hat on here. What I will say is these rallies are being sold off on the individual candles. You see that? That worries me a little bit if I was still investment long. See that wick? They have gone higher on the close, but marginally higher. This currently is the highest close of the 3 candles on a 2-hour time frame. But there is clearly signs of selling. I'm not sure you're going to get all the way back up to there. This got very disorderly over here. You see it. That's when you really accelerated to the downside, Stephen. So for me, investment, given how far I think it could go. So let's cover this as well as part of Stephen's answer, because he's asked the question and we always want to give good value. My concern for XRP is that you could be looking at 117 and in an exceptional case sub 60, which is a full round trip. A full round trip, 59 cents. That brings you back to there. So if you're uncomfortable with the possibilities of 117, by the way, another one for Stephen. So Stephen's getting all the value here. We have inverted charts of XRP. We've been watching this for a while in the community. And I did this draw on our live trading day. And this has an 87. So you have 59 and we have an 87, 86 cents target. And it is broken out of a funnel. So what is this chart? This gets higher when you go down. It's an inverted chart. And I've done the draw. This is your draw. It's kind of a complex draw. It's like that. This is your second. And that is your third. Right there. And we then feigned and broke then. And I started getting short here. So April the 4th, I was short. It pulled back. It put me in the red. And now it's taken me up to there. Now it's in a pullback mode. Well, you've made your first interim. We've got a second interim in and around the 144, 143 points. So you could pull back a little bit. You could even bounce and support on our first interim. I'll tell you the values of that. It often happens. The first interim is at 191. So if you could get a 1.9, anything with a 1.9, I might even get out, Stephen. On the basis you could possibly buy it back at 87.59, and at the worst case 117. So we'll see how it's developing. But this is an upside HVF on a log scale that we've done. The candles have been compressed a little bit. There's a reason for that. That's why you can't see them so well. But this is a decent setup, and that's got a big ass target to the upside on an inverted chart. This is not good. We turn our charts over, we lose our bull bias. So that's the answer, a detailed answer for Stephen, and we thank him for his super chat. Yes, it can go below $1, Caleb. If the system collapses at the end of May, beginning of June, how long the money moves into crypto and metals after that? So I think metals does better. I think cash is good. The only problem with cash is try not to have not too much of it in a bank. Some of you will go, what? It's hard to get cash notes, but at least they don't die. This is not the time for worrying about inflation. This is the worry about capital preservation. Gold and cash. Gold and cash. You can get these little guys. You can start real small. Oh, by the way, I confused everybody. I said $531 for these, and everyone was like, you got ripped off for that 1/20th of an ounce. It was Australian dollars. I never made it clear. I was in Aussie and I bought on Australian dollars. You can get single ounce coins like this fella, and you can even get my favorite, the 5 ounce dragon. These things are great for saving your money. Not enough light on it. Let me put it in the light. Put it in the light. It shines bright. Put it in the light. It'll ping properly. And my favorite that's in his glass, this is a 5 ouncer. These will not drop like your cryptos can drop. Cryptos is high beta. It's for speculation. Even when you're investing without leverage, it is speculative because of its high volatility. Listen, you want to have a reserve asset as Bitcoin. All these guys, Mikey Saylor, all want to have that as a reserve asset, something that dumps 80% and dumped 74% last thing. How many people, grannies and grandpa and elderly people going into retirement, are going to want to have something tied up that can at any point dump 80%? Imagine I took right now off your current cash balances 80% and said, muddle on through this crisis now. I've taken 80% of your cash. I mean, come on. That's not going to be right. Your pension. Let me just say your pension value. Some of you will know your pension value. Or of your house. What if I said you have to sell me your house for 20% of its worth? How are you feeling? Is that a deal? Are you happy? And guess what? It's always when you need the money. That's the value of your house, 20%. That's no good. Everybody wants and needs their money, and that's when the bankers take the brollies away, and that's when your asset Bitcoin dumps 80%. I'll take the 5% gold's drop, thank you very much, and the fact I'll hold on and it'll make a new high in due course, because it's defense. In capital preservation, defense wins championships. Attacks might win you a game on any given day. Bitcoin's gone up the most. It's the best asset ever, history. Okay, you scored a bunch of goals in one particular game. How's your defense when you're playing against a better team? You leaked like hell. You allowed 8 goals through you, 80 goals through you. You're sitting there on your backside. Gold, 5%. They got 1 goal and we managed to score 2 in the other end. We're still winning. We're still collecting the 3 points. That's the difference. Francis, for those uncomfortable with puts, etc., what are your thoughts on... whoa, there's a heart in the way there. Sorry, I need to... Euro bond ETFs, 3x and 5x leverage. Don't do the leveraged ETFs. It's kind of like a scam, because you actually don't always get the 3 times and the 5 times. They use derivative tools and brokers, expensive brokerage and stuff like that. But when it goes down, you can sometimes lose even more than the 3x. I'm not a fan of that. It's a con. It was a bit like FTX that used to have those 5 times Ethereum token or 3 times Bitcoin tokens, etc., etc. They're usually right at the bottom, worth next to nothing. Because on the downsides, they lose far more than they make on the upsides. So it's just, especially on high volatility assets. So high volatility, anything that's a multiplier ETF is not good for you. And almost everything now is going to be higher volatility, even stable things. Bonds are high volatility and they're supposed to be stable. Okay, so we've given, let's just summarize. Remember, you can book a call and build wealth during this period. There's actually a lot of opportunities, but you first have to not be hurting. You first have to get into defense where you've locked down. Then you can go and be attacking minded and take some money out of the opportunities. If you're bleeding, you've got low confidence, you've got less money, and it's much harder to engage and do anything. So first of all, we help to build wealth. We help to preserve capital and to buy you optionality for freedoms the world over as part of reset preparation. We are the people for reset preparation in reset times. We are non-advisory, but we tell you what we do. We introduce partners to support you and help you. There is a totalitarian tiptoe that is finding its way in here. There is an overreach. Lagarde and von der Leyen are going to take away your private savings to build an army to fight Russia. Why? Why is that even necessary? Conscription for men and women in Germany. They didn't kill enough at the tail end post the end of the war. They need to come back and finish more German, Slavs, UK, everything. Don't be part of this captured military-industrial complex, warmongery, over-taxation. They're going to go into scavenge mode for taxation. The debt is failing. The rates are going to go higher on euro debt as they're forced to spend more. You need to think about where you want to see this out, guys. You really do. I know some of you think you can't change. You can. Children adapt. Jobs can be found. You can work remotely. Negotiate a contract. There's always something that can be worked if you have the right mindset. You don't want to be in the core European nations any more than the US. And the core European nations are worse because of this militarization they're going to pursue. They're going to seize pensions to do it. To do what? To buy ammunition that has a lifespan and then has to be use it or lose it. You betcha they'll use it, and they'll have your sons in the mincing machine for it, and you'll thank them and pay your taxes for that. Well, if that's the deal you want, stay where you are. You've signed up for it by default. Well done. Happy days. If that's not the deal you want, get up and leave and go where you're treated better. The crypto market will go up again. The statists have decided that. It's just not the time now first. There will be buy the dip opportunities, but they will come later than you imagine, and there will be more of them, and real technical analysis, like the fact that we told you 3.36 is going to be the localized high on XRP. We said it more than once on multiple videos. And took some of our own investment off and closed a leverage long for a P&L high. And we were out at 211, our lowest exit. You are now sitting at 178 and staring down the barrel of the gun. It's okay. I've been there. You missed the first chance exit. The next is your next best one. That's how it works. And keep the powder dry. You have optionality to reinvest. Having cash in times like this is good. Having cash in times like this is good. Okay, that's it from me on Crypto Channel. Which countries do we reckon? There's a lot of reset discussions we can have around that. You too can book a call and find out more about what we say there and discuss in the community. But first, you have to decide if you are ready to be a community member, a self-study member, someone who attends a live trading day. By the way, we're thinking of events, super members. You can come and have a week with us possibly. We're going to think about products and things that you can come and do, experience other countries and have time. For those that are well of resource, it's going to cost, I'm afraid, but those will be our super clients, and we'll be drawing on our community members to also come on that. So we're thinking of a lot of powerful things that can be coming. This truly is reset times. You really need a plan. Be safe out there. It's not over when they tell you it's over. There's going to be a contagion of events that will come. There might even be food shortages, there might be some sort of animal disease, death things. There could be other things beyond tariffs. It's not just a tariff story. It's not even, I think, a tariff story. Trump's trapped. It's the debt. It's the debt, stupid. It starts always with the debt. They built it into a record high. CV19 was the excuse after doing subprime, QE1, 2, and 3. It's the debt. You're in a debt-based collapse. The more currency you hold long term, the more you are losing wealth. Assets will hold, but not if they're financially leveraged initially. They will fall first. Gold is not financially leveraged. That's why we say start there. And eventually you will buy silver, miners, and cryptos again. But we need that gold-silver ratio, which was where I was at when I came over to that, as one of your core indicators that you should be watching to turn back down through the 100, the 90, and start heading down through 70. At that point, you will be in the pound seat and we'll be watching it. Yes, we have another amazing super chat. Thank you, Tony. Tony Nelson, Hong Kong $200. How excellent is that? Thank you for your Hong Kong dollars, Tony. We appreciate you, and we will have a look at Ethereum because that's what you've asked. And by the way, the biggest disappointment of this alt market has indeed been ETH. Some people have said there's some whale that has just put on a massive position on ETH. I wouldn't be too overconfident that the Trump group also announced a purchase of ETH, and the market's gone solid down ever since he did it. So don't just trust whale purchases as your core thing. That has been continuation to the downside, Tony. That had a spike at the 2.2. That's a level we'd identified before. All the key levels are here. You can see the broadening structure here that eventually saw you go up. That's a double top. My goodness. Tony, thanks for bringing us here, by the way. This is the double top to end all double tops. It is scary bad, that double top. We would go logarithmically. So let's just remind people of this. That's where you are on the macro on Ethereum. So Tony in Hong Kong has asked, what's the prospects for ETH? How low can he go? Maybe Tony is holding, I don't know, but he's watching it. It is the second biggest crypto. So I would say you're sitting at 4K, which seems to be the localized high, and that's 2.2 in my book. So I would grab, which is the highest point? That was 4093. That's 4109. That was the highest point recently. And I would draw that there. And we're going to make sure we're on log scale here. So your worst nightmare, Tony, looks something like this. And I'm going to give it to you hard and fair and true, because honesty is my only policy, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good news. That would be a target for that double top. So technical double top on lines we've had on here for ages. And that grind line breaking, you can see the dotted grind line. There is your M double top. Is he still irresponsibly long Ethereum? I don't know. Did he pivot to SU? I'm not sure. People will tell us. Or he'll tell us. You're already, Tony, in truth, you're already 60% of the way down there, I would argue. Maybe even 70. So you're at 1512. This is 1179. You could get dangerously close to 3 digits. That doesn't mean you'll get 3 digits. Remember, targets are typically overrun slightly. But 1179 certainly points to trading below 1200. Given that you're already at 1500, if you were in from 4000, you've actually worn most of the loss. But by the way, reversals don't end just at the target if they're very serious reversals. When you get a head and shoulders at the top of a localized high, I don't think this quite qualifies for that. But you could also get a rally here. You can see this wick is firming up a little bit. There's some buying coming in. And of course, you had somebody buy that leverage long. There are going to be some crazy tuned stuff going on. I'll look at it at a lower time frame to respect you. But your short answer is 1179, Tony, on a double top reversal with a neckline at 2.2 and a high at just through 4,100. That's over there. If I drop it down to daily, that is your rally so far. Again, you had a bit of an ugly setup. Let's just see this. I'm actually going to squeeze a draw in here for Tony and see if I can give him a little more on the lower time frames, because he asked so nicely and he stayed up. What time is it in Hong Kong, Tony? 1, 2, yeah. So let's try and squeeze a draw in here. There is actually a continuation pattern to the downside of an HVF nature, which we will put in there. There you go. And it got a lovely little wind up after it made. You see, made first interim, supported on first interim, made another little inverted primer. Low 1, high 1, low 2, high 2, really hard into the low 3, very small third, and a break. You've actually just made that target. It's kind of like Bitcoin, actually. It doesn't surprise me. She had 2 inverted HVFs on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they've both made their 4-hour stroke 2-hour downside targets. This could point to a rally for a while. It's called progress decay. So we get the feign and break stage, where you trigger, you break, and you feign back in. This is exactly what happened there. You also get the first interim made stage, which you did. You also traded back in. This is all a perfect little primer in here that's just playing on the triggering event line. Then you get stage 3, which is the capitulation stage. Tell me if you can spot that one, Tony. Bang! There she goes. Then you sometimes get pushback at the targets. This was just so brutal, you didn't get any pushback. Now you get some pushback after target run. It's called progress decay. However, this is confirmed downside trend, and you've had a pattern make a downside target. So any rallies should be used for exits if you're still long. And unless you get a pattern structure, I wouldn't short, but get defensive, which is probably USDT. If we were to do this, Tony, and do that, and do this, and then do that, and then do this, and then start doing that, that would again be short for more downside, Tony, and you can short. And then I would tell you, put your stop loss there and your entry short there and hold for a target. And we have a drawing tool that does that all our community members can do. So you too could benefit from that. Thank you for your interesting question. And in fact, Ethereum has been absolutely brutalized, and when it spills quickly. And by the way, the risk reward on that trade that Tony just asked about, 5.64 on a small time frame. These opportunities are occurring all the time. You can make money in a falling market even faster. Let's just be clear, that's 4 hours. You would have gone to sleep here at 11 o'clock and you would have woken up 12 hours later and your trade is done. You've gone to bed, sleep 8 hours. You would have had an hour putting awake, watching your trade take off, and you would have got up, and then an hour later, you're out. And you would have gone, cha-ching, whatever you risked, 1 unit, you would have 5.64 units. Asymmetric reward. 2, tight risk and stop loss. Did you ever run the stop loss, even get close? Even though it's a low time frame, even though it's real tight, see the low volatility? That was your worst moment. You never came anywhere close to 1845. I would have had you have the stop at about 1846, 1847. You would not have been stopped out. Okay, that was awesome. Tony, thank you for your request. And that ends the stream. Thank you to you all. Thank you for pushing us through on subscriber numbers. Share this. Warn people. It's serious, guys. It's going to have many legs to it, this beast. It's going to be a summer of discontent in the Northern Hemisphere. And politicians will be blagging and fighting and theater. The relationship between Europe and America is likely to fray. America's tired of freeloaders. Europeans are hurt and wounded that they're being talked to with such gruff respect. Well, you never paid your cut of the bill, and now you're expecting cappuccinos and cake all the time. Well, now you can make your own cappuccinos and your own cake and buy your own ingredients. That's what's happening. I'm not too sure I feel too sorry for them. The same goes for the United Kingdom. You may as well consider to tie them into Europe. Labour is very friendly with the von der Leyen axis, the EU WEF Accords. So I'm afraid the UK is essentially not in Brexit. It doesn't really have its own policies. It's going to be leading the charge on military industrialization. My goodness, they could just fix their roads and stop the people from invading their nation when they already have taken too many immigrants. They can't provide social housing for their own indigenous people, and stop arresting mothers for tweets and giving MPs, Labour MPs, bail for kiddie fiddling. Oh boy, don't even let me start. Don't let me start. I better stop. I better go. Till next time, thank you for watching. We hope this was valuable. We did the charts with you. Be careful out there. Rallies short term, more pain to come. Your friends, the US 10-year to make the target I gave you, the gold and silver ratio to reverse and come back down. That's when the news improves. That's when the news improves, when you break 75 on the gold-silver ratio to the downside. That's when you buy miners, silver instead of gold, and crypto again. Till next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.